Coach Insell will give an opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions.
It's a new year, obviously, and we're excited about where we're at in starting of year 3 and looking more like a SEC basketball team every single day that we're on the court. And we're very excited about in terms of where we were picked in the league, coming off the last 2 years when we unanimously picked last by the media and the coaches, and now you're picked 6. It brings a little bit more expectation to your team and your program, and it shows the respect that our girls have earned over the last 2 seasons, but 6 is not where we want to be. And we feel like we have a really good basketball team, and you know, we're very young, as you guys well know. We have 9 freshmen and sophomores, but they're growing each and every day, and they're not playing like freshmen and sophomores. And when you look at our juniors, the 4 of them, only 2 of them have been in our program for 3 years. The other 2, one of them is just now starting. Precious sat out all of last year, and when you talk about her sitting out, she didn't practice a time last year. She had a knee injury for the whole season, so this is really her first go around of practicing with us. And Erica Sisk is just our 2nd year in the program. So it's a very young team, but a very talented team, and a team that we're very excited about and what we can do. And we'll take the same approach that we take the last 2 years, where each game and practice over the first couple of months here in November, December will be helping us to get ready for January, when we get into a tough SEC conference. And this year in particular for us, you look at our schedule, we were picked 6th in the league, and we get South Carolina twice, which is picked 1st. We go to Tennessee, which is picked 2nd. We get Mississippi State twice, which is picked 3rd, and we get Texas A&M twice, which is picked 4th. That's 7 of our 16 games there, and so you got a lot of opportunities for big wins in those 7 games. But you also have the opportunity to have some struggles, and so you got to continue to get better, and we got to prepare ourselves today for those games when we get into January and February. And so we're excited about that. It has to be one of the toughest conference schedules in the country for any team in the country, and we've embraced that. We're excited for those opportunities and look forward to getting started.
Questions for Coach Insell?
When you talked with me, you didn't seem to be as worried about replacing Tia as much as, you know, getting the post players. Have you seen that kind of come along, that you've got your post players to be able to take up those rebounds?
Yeah, I think Tia was an incredible rebounder, and I don't think one person can replace the productivity that she had rebounding the basketball offensively and defensively. She was probably a better offensive rebounder than she was a defensive rebounder. She scored a lot of her baskets. One of the biggest misconceptions of Tia with our basketball team is we never ran one play to Tia in 2 years. There was never a set play that we ran to her. A lot of her points come off of offensive rebound and putting it back in, or a drive and kick. But we have to replace that rebounding. That's something that we work on each and every day. We practiced more this year against guys than we had in years past in terms of bringing our practice guys in to present a bigger, stronger, more athletic player that we're having to keep off the boards, because that can kind of resemble what a South Carolina's big players look like, what a Tennessee's ones look like. We go ahead and get a look for our players, for Bretta Hart, for Kelsey Briggs, Cecilia Mahate, those players, Shaquilla Joseph, for them to see what that's like more and to get in the rebounding aspect. But I'm not too particularly worried about it. I guess I can be more concerned about Danielle McCray's loss than any player that we have, and that's I guess from your standpoint, you're like, man, Danielle McCray. But Danielle McCray brought a lot of stability to us. She was someone that every game I knew what I was getting. She played real hard defensively. She was somebody that we executed a lot of our offenses, went through her hands to get to other people's shots. And, you know, she was just every day I knew what I was getting in practice and in the games. And so trying to find that steady player who's going to be there every day, that's not going to have ups and downs, that's something we're looking for. But in terms of replacing Tia on the boards, I feel real good about where we're at with our post players. Really, really well. A lot better than I thought I would this time.
You mentioned expectations, but also the youth of this team. Is the NCAA tournament realistic expectation? And if so, what makes you believe it is?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, that's what we're shooting for. We feel like, we feel like as a group that we have an NCAA tournament team in terms of talent. Now, can we come together as one and be that special team that can get back to the tournament, that can make a run once you get there? That's yet to be seen. I don't know. But in terms of talent, we have that. Our schedule doesn't set up real well for a young team when you talk about the SEC. That's something that we have to really push hard to get better and get ready for that, because you know, with our way our league schedule is now, you could be a 6-10 team that could get in the NCAA tournament because our league schedule is so tough, like an Arkansas team did last year, or a 7-9. You may not have to get to 8-8 or 9-7 to get in. But we feel like we have a team that can make the NCAA tournament. That's something that we're shooting for. You know, we would be upset if we don't. We work real hard to get there, and we've got the talent level that can match just about anybody in this league.
Coach, two-part question. With the NCAA women's basketball, they're changing to 4 10-minute quarters. Do you think that's good for the sport? And secondly, does that change the way you guys play at all?
I think it's great for the sport. I know some people don't like it. I know there's other coaches in our league that don't like it, one in particular. But I really like it. I think it's great for our sport. I think 4 quarters is really good. Men's basketball is the only brand of basketball in the world, from FIBA to high school to junior pro to college, anything pro, that doesn't play 4 quarters. Men's college basketball is the only one that doesn't play 4 quarters. When these players are playing international basketball, they play 4 quarters. They play high school basketball, they play 4 quarters. It's going to speed the game up, I think. This fouls reset at the end of every quarter, which is really good. So you could be in the bonus in the first quarter and not the second, that kind of thing. Just don't continue to add up. But I think it's really good. The advancement of the ball is going to be something new in terms of the last minute of the game. It's going to go to the NBA style of game. If you call a timeout, you can advance the ball to the front court. I think that brings coaching into it. So we're excited about that. We'll get our first taste of that come Saturday. We have a closed scrimmage, and so we'll get our first taste of how the quarters work. And luckily it's in a closed setting, so none of you guys can be there, and we can really figure it out then. But it'll be the first time that we get our first grip of that, what that feels like. But we're excited about it.
Coach Erica talked a couple of times about playing hard, kind of the same thing with last year's team. But when you look at the youth, how do you get them to focus on that rather than the fact that everybody continues to say you're young, and not use that as an excuse to just fall back on the other thing?
We don't talk about being young. That's not something that we've ever talked about in practice. We know we have 9 freshmen and sophomores. They know it every Friday night. They go on the square. I mean, they can't get in certain places, so they know how young they are. And so that's nothing new for them. So that's not something we talk about. The only thing I ask them is, if you're a freshman, you have to play like a sophomore. If you're a sophomore, you have to play like a junior. If you're a junior, you have to play like a senior. And, you know, that's when we took over the program, the first thing I told Ross Bjork, year 4, we're going to be real good. And, you know, we built our recruiting around getting our roster set for year 4. We're a little bit ahead of schedule where I thought we would be. But you look at it, we don't really lose anybody off this year's roster. We'll be adding a couple players in a couple weeks for recruiting time. And so we have a chance to make a big run then. But this team has set itself up now that we're excited about year 3 and thinking year 3 we have a chance. And so our youth is not going to be an excuse. You won't hear me make an excuse about that. You know, that's just the way it is. And we have to go out and play every game, and we have to be ready to go. And in terms of playing hard and toughness, that's something we're always going to be about. When I go recruit, I look for players that play hard. I look for players that are very tough. You know, I don't want a player that scores 30 points and in the last 5 minutes of the game they go and hide. And so they have 30 with 5 minutes to go and they don't score another basket. If they do that, I'll pull away and won't recruit them, because that's not toughness, that's not playing hard. So we're always going to be that. Did I answer the second part of your question? Yeah, I did.
Anything else for Coach Insell?
Can you talk a little bit about the girls touched on it a little bit, the perimeter shooting, obviously without Gracie, and they both talked about wanting to try to.
It's improved. I asked Queen Hayes and Erica Sis this summer to improve their shooting. Queen Hayes, I think, made somewhere around 50,000 threes over the summer made. So she's shooting the ball a lot better. Erica Sis, you know, she's never going to be a 40% three-point shooter, but I feel like she can be a 30% shooter on the outside. And she's worked real hard to get to that point and is shooting the ball extremely well. Kira Golden is another sophomore that was a great shooter for us last year. Wasn't quite strong enough to play last year. She's improved and got physically stronger. It's looking real good. Tori Lewis was one of the top shooters in the country coming out of high school, and she has a quick release. And I watched her on the shooting machine this summer make somewhere around 97 out of 100 straight shots from the 3. Gracie Brazil never made it over 80 out of 100, and she made 97 out of 100. It's 3 misses and 100 attempts. And then Medina Muhammad is another freshman out of Chicago, Illinois, that's will have a chance to start for our basketball team on the perimeter. She's pushing Chandrika and Erica every single day. She's a very, very talented freshman. She was ranked as one of the top 50, 60 players in the country coming out of high school, and she is proving that every day. And she can really score the basketball from outside and inside, so I'm excited about that. So our shooting's got better. And our forward players can really shoot it. You start talking about Kelsey Briggs, Precious Person, and Shaquila Joseph, all of them can shoot the ball on the perimeter. So I don't feel like that where our shooting is going to be as big of an issue as it was last year. When you, at times on the court last year, you only had one player that could make a shot outside of 15 feet. This year you won't have that issue. We'll have 4, at times 5 on the court.
Anything else for Coach?
What's the next step for Erica? I mean, how much more do you need out of her this year?
I need Erica to become more of an offensive threat night in and night out, and not hit or miss. This week, Thursday night she gets 18 points, and then on Sunday afternoon she gets 2. I need to become more consistent, scoring the basketball, getting to the rim. Defensively, she's a game changer. How she didn't make all defensive team last year, I'll never know. She's one of the best on-ball defenders in our league. That's a goal of hers, is to be Defensive Player of the Year. Hopefully she'll reach that goal, and she's working real hard to do that. But in terms of offensively, just be more consistent, getting to the rim, scoring at the rim, finishing with your left hand, just little things. And she's worked real hard this summer. I couldn't ask for a group that has worked as hard as our team has worked this summer. They really took ownership to improve in a lot of different areas, and they've taken it to heart. They tasted success there, going to the NIT, making the quarterfinals of that. That was fun for them, but that's not where they want to be. They want to be in the NCAA tournament. And you look at it from last year, outside of Mississippi State throwing in a luck shot to end the game there at home, and then we blow a 17, 18-point lead at Vanderbilt. You win those 2 games, you're probably in the tournament last year, and that's how close it was for us being in. And so they're a real hungry basketball team right now to prove that they can do some special things.